Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started here in just a minute. So, thanks for holding on. And I know you're just staring at a blank wall right now, but we'll see you here in just a minute. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Good morning, everybody. We'll be right with you. Waiting for some people to log on.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing good. Today it's going to be an awesome day because I'm choosing it. That's one thing I know. We have been waiting. I would guarantee we all have that common thought right now is I'm waiting. Some of us are waiting for different things. Most of us are, let me just get rid of a myth right now is that you're not the only one. You always feel like sometimes you're the only one that's dealing with something or this right here. And it's like, if you start talking to people, it's a myth. You are not alone. Everybody is waiting for something. Sometimes it's an easy wait. Sometimes it's a hard wait. And I was challenged with that this week. And so the way I'm going to demonstrate this today is specifically for the kids out there and the kids at heart, because if you know me and you have gotten to know me in different levels, I am a kid and I love having a kid's heart. One of my friends and I, we always talk about sometimes when you've had a tough past, you can always tell those people sometimes because they're the ones that like it to be lighthearted, fun, laugh, and just have a good time because you just don't want to go there, And then there's some people that just light the room and have always been that way. And I love that. So today we're just going to bring a little kid into us, and hopefully you are doing that too. Last night, my son and I had a moment and I was tired and I worked really hard that day, and it seems like every day has been a kind of an uphill work and I was just finished with something and I was just like I could get in a funk, and so I turned on music really loud, the kind of 80s music because you can dance to it, and I said, Josh, get down here. And he goes, what? And I'm just like making some moves, okay, yeah. Not my best on camera. But he came down and he goes, well, what? I'm like, what I'm doing? Let's do this. Let's dance. And I said, I realized through this pandemic, I haven't danced much. I like to dance. I think it's fun to just let the music take you. And some of the things that we say on here, God says if you do this, then this should this will happen. And I feel like some of you just go, yeah, that's easy for you to say. And it is against human nature to make adjustments and move, forward, if you will. And so, and that's kind of an analogy what I had about the dancing. Sometimes I don't want to dance, but I turn the music on and I make myself dance. I remember somebody who had a really hard life, and every time they got in the car, they just smiled. They smiled. And I thought, why did they smile? Because they wanted to be happy and they wanted others to see that. I mean, they were real and transparent, when they trusted people, but it's just, we gotta kind of try to push forward in some of our, and I'm not saying everybody's depressed today or any of that. It's rare that I have days where I'm in a funk. It's rare. And my family can tell you that, and my good friends can tell you that. So just a little housekeeping. Thank you guys for, adhering to their Zelle accounts, and, some have asked if we have PayPal. So if you need that information, all we have to do is type it in for you. Also, last week, I think I had 6 to 7 shares of this video, and it's cool if you don't want to do it. It's not a problem because you're, if you want to just be entertained by us and you don't want your friends to know about us, I get that. No, But if you could take a challenge and share this video at the end, because I think we need to hear more good out there and possibilities than a negative and bad. So when we're done, all you have to do is, it's a button at I think it's the left of your screen, and you press share, and it shares it on your line. So you don't even have to do the work of telling everybody the great news today, just use us. So please do that for us, because I think it's just, it's an encouragement. It really is. And we had 6 last week, and love to see this week 15. I'm going to think high, okay? All right, let's get into it. So like I said, this is for the kids today, and kids at heart. So a little thumbs up, some thumbs up if you're a kid at heart. I want to see that when I watch the video again. That'd be great. I love interaction on here. Okay, so basically, like I said, I was challenged on the waiting, how I was waiting. Now, sometimes some of us, we wait at the same time. I have these little pieces of paper here, and sometimes we wait with, it says worry. We wait with worry. I'm not sure if that does any good. What does it add to you when you worry? The Bible talks about that. We wait with impatience, like, is this ever going to happen? Stuff like that. So put that in our pot. And let's see, what's this one? We wait with defeat. I felt defeated this week. Yeah. And where does that put us? We'll find out. Okay. Defeat. Can you repeat that, Logan? Defeat. I see you. I'm just kidding. I know you're watching. David, I got a word for you. I mean, this isn't about you, but just say it for me. Complain. Sometimes we complain, huh, David? Ugh, I know. So, all right. And here's the last one, which is really good last one. Misery. Not Missouri, you people out there. I know what you're doing. Misery. You've created your own misery half of the time. People around you do help that too. But instead of getting mad at them when they cut you off on the street with their car, just smile and go on. But sometimes we don't do that. We do other things, shame on you, and we create misery. All right. So with that said, when we have done that, we have effectively, let's see what it does. Are you ready, kids? All right. So I have, just in case, I got fire. This is not to be done at home. You have nothing at home like this to do it. Do you hear me? All right. Okay. Oh. Wow. Let's see what we came up with. With all that said, nothing. When you add worry, misery, defeat, all that, you're empty. You're kind of a shell. Nothing. So it really doesn't help, does it? Nothing exciting about that. So the verse that I have for today is Isaiah 40:31. It's something I memorized a long time ago. And it does talk about strength. And this week, I was very, very challenged by it. So it says, we have old songs that we used to sing with the kids, like, God is the king of the jungle, ruh, ruh. God is the king of the sea, and there's all these things, but it talks about God's strength and all of those fun songs, and I think as you get older, you get challenged and you get to use those times to understand what that really means. And strength is a magical, mysterious thing. It's pretty awesome. And guess what? It doesn't come from just us. So because the verse says, they that wait, there's that word, and it's throughout the Bible, so he knew you'd be waiting. Sorry about that, guys. But they that wait upon the Lord will renew. They will get more strength. Like, Popeye, that's so old, but that's for all you older kids out there, that when he ate spinach, he fed himself with good stuff. He got stronger and stronger and stronger. Do you remember that? And the thing is, what I was challenged with this week was because I had to wait for something, and I actually was not waiting well, because I told my husband, I'm like, well, why don't I feel the strength when I'm waiting? What am I doing wrong? I'm not waiting well. That's what it clicked, because it says they that wait upon the Lord will renew the strength. Well, if I'm not getting renewed strength, then what am I missing? Okay? So, let's look at our new words that we need to add into our life. This is your life. All right. We have hope. Remember, it's not always easy to have hope, but it is, it's important. And hope is when you don't see it, but you believe God will do it. It's pretty cool and significant. Make sure that's in your life. Also, Asher, you watching? Okay, well, let me know. Celebrate. Celebrate. Say it. Good job. My son's still obedient to me. Not bad for 23 years. Celebrate. That's a big one to our family. Throughout all this pandemic, sometimes I hear, well, oh my gosh, I might have a pandemic birthday. I'm going to have to be quarantined. I'm like, oh man, we have the best birthday this year. Because in our family, one of the things I hope that you guys do, and when we do, counseling, we always tell people everything you celebrate. Paul and Amy, thanks for picking that up. You're doing a great job. You always see her good mom posts of pictures and their awards and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be defeated after that. Just kidding. But celebrate. Do it. Everything. My son found out he was going to teach, and even through the pandemic. That was exciting. We toasted to that. Celebrate. All right. I'm going to hurry, you guys. Sorry, I get a little carried away here. But good. Good. Okay, the word is good, but you can see that and apply that everywhere. How do you see things? How do you see people? Because I did hear a quote this week that said that the way you see people is kind of a little bit of the way you're seeing yourself right now. So if you find the good in them, you're going to find it in you. So just a little free one for you. Courage. Courage. I saw Asher running on the road to beat his mom in the car, and he had such courage. It was so cute. And we have... Okay. Oh, confidence. That's a good one. I want everybody to say that. All you adults out there, confidence. Say it out loud. I hope you all are doing this, because I don't know. I'm a mom. I have eyes in the back of my head. All right. And the last but not least is strength. So just remember that's a magical it's from God. It's awesome. Okay? Let's see what happens when we apply this to our life. Okay? All right. Don't do this at home. All right. And we light. And whoa! Nice. Good stuff happens. All right? So if you're not waiting right, make sure you are. Wait well. Renew your strength. I am right now with sugar. Renew your strength, guys. If you are not renewing your strength, you're not waiting well. So keep that in mind. My husband has awesome things to say. I miss you guys. I miss those kids and the kids at heart. Love you. Have a great day. I'll share these when I see you. Here comes John.
So how do I top that? Joshua's going to make some camera adjustments if necessary, because we needed to be able to focus on what Leah was doing in front of her, and it was kind of a cool little presentation. When you wait well, good things happen. And so again today, it's just awesome to be able to have a chance to be together. I saw so many people that logged on. Even Jim, who was my neighbor that lived next door, now lives in Missouri with his family. I want to just say hello. I could sit here and mention a lot of names: Tracy, Wendy. We saw Diane and Tim and Morgan and Ron and Faye and Michael and Logan and Blanca, and we could just sit here all day long. I know Leah mentioned some of the other kids as well, Ricky and Jonathan, and I know those that will tune in later today and watch it again with their families. And so we want to just again say thank you guys for doing that with me. Hey, Rob and Candace, if you're watching, I saw Renee was watching, but Rob and Candace, if you're watching, congratulations. It was a privilege to be invited to your wedding yesterday. I've never attended a wedding in Nevada while sitting on my couch in California. That was a new experience for me, but you guys had a beautiful wedding. And even in the midst of this pandemic of what was happening, you guys took the time to dress up and to be prepared. And Candace, I've known Rob for a while, and I'm not sure how you see him as being dreamy, but I'm glad you see that way. And we have, kind of like doing one of those shows like Seinfeld. There's noise in the background, but that's actually just a computer that's like clapping for us and stuff at the right time and all that stuff. So never would be my wife or my son laughing or making interaction in the background. Hey, I want to just take some moments, and Leah and I talked about what she was going to do in the presentation. And I was thinking about, Leah and I have really been praying a lot about our young people and our kids, all of you certainly, but I was thinking about this week, the reality that many of our young people are getting ready to start school again. And it was something that was just kind of a thought that we, on our prayer walk, were talking about what's that going to be like. And I noticed that there were some posts and pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all those other places, and a lot of the young people went to the campuses to collect their books that they're going to be using for this year. And again, here in California, schools are not going to be reconvening at location, but rather are going to be online through some online teaching. And I want to just say to moms and dads, I understand that this is going to be somewhat of a challenge, and many of you, many of you are making different sacrifices to make that happen, changing your work schedule so that one of you can be at home while you're teaching the kids and the other one's at work. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and I don't know if Colette, if you're still on or not. I noticed that you logged on, but as an educational supervisor, I'm sure you're looking at this through the lens of, wow, what are we going to do? Opportunity, we've talked about that. This is unique, and it's something new that we're trying to sort through and figure out. But I'm loving the ways that we're being creative, and we're changing this new world that we're living in by a matter of the information that we process and how we process that information. But again, I was thinking about those kids, and when you first get the big stack of books, and maybe some of us can relate to remembering when we were attending school, when you got your first syllabuses and what the classes were going to be like, what the professors were expecting, the teachers were expecting. I remember when I was in school, when I get that big stack of books, at first I was really excited about it. But then I started looking at it through the lens of time, having attended maybe the first week or the second week or maybe the third week of school. And now all of a sudden that same pile of books is not so exciting, because now we realize that the information contained inside of those books is being asked of us to not only remember, but to somehow stimulate and spark and ignite information inside of our head. And again, our minds, I don't know who said this, but our minds are not so much there to be filled as much as it is that information should spark our minds to be creative and to be able to process even greater things than what maybe we're being taught. I mean, certainly you look at people like Einstein, who was certainly taught, but he was not limited by what he was being taught. He allowed his mind to expand as he thought uniquely, individually about what he was looking at in physics, and pushed himself. And again, like we talked about a few weeks ago, he became a student his lifetime. He never quit learning when it came to physics and when it came to what he could try to understand about the world around him. So I was thinking about all of that, and again thinking about our young people going back to school, and thinking about just all of these things. And one of the things that's interesting, that in this time that we've stayed at home, or I know some of us are still going to work, but our work schedules are maybe a little bit different. But one of the things that I realize is that what has remained important to me, and this may sound kind of funny, but I have yet to take a day where I just plop down and just I'm just doing nothing. And probably because that's the way I am. That's the way Leah and I are together. We're constantly wanting to do something, and in the sense of I mean, we can't really go anywhere, and I can't change any of that stuff, but there's still a day where we can do something. We talked about playing Scrabble, and we've talked about, reading books more and reading things and writing more and doing things to prepare for presenting with you. And so I was just thinking about, my life, and I was thinking about how one of the things that has been important to me through this process is how I present myself. Being presentable. And so I want to just kind of talk about that for a minute because, again, as we look at the world that we're in, we see a lot of obviously what's going on. And I had a conversation with somebody that is part of medical, and one of the things that were stated is that there's probably a more reality that the masks things that we're being asked to do is probably not going to come to an end really anytime soon, and just trying to make sure that we're being careful as we interact with people. Again, here in California, we've seen a number of new cases, and our hearts certainly go out to people that have experienced this. We do know people that have had it, but have good news. Many of them have recovered. Unfortunately, we do know of some people who have passed away as a result of this as well. And so our hearts go out to so many of you that are in this. I also want to just mention something as we're talking about being presentable, and just what does that mean also as we talk about how we feel inwardly about those presentations. So I want to present a name to you that I would really love for you to write down. It's okay that you can type it in the comments, but somehow remind yourself of this name. It's a dear friend. His name is Dwight Edgar. And Dwight Edgar was in a horrific accident that was completely uncontrolled, in the sense that there was nothing that could have been done to make it happen another way. He was literally blown off of the back of a truck by a gust of wind from a semi-truck driving past him. And in that situation, from what I understand, from what has been told to us, and in that situation, he landed on his head, and he's currently in the hospital, and he really needs God's touch to heal his brain. That's just being blunt. And so, guys, we're going to talk about good things, and we talked about how we wait. Leah talked about we can wait with worry, we can wait with anxiety, we can wait with fear and with doubt. And I certainly would just acknowledge that there's family that is going through a lot of things right now. His family is going through a lot of things. But we want the family to know, and I don't know if they'll watch any of this or anything, and that's fine. But guys, let's be praying for Dwight. Let's be praying for his family. Let's be praying that God would touch him and would speak to him, and that he would wake up from this situation that he's in. And thinking about being presentable, there are things in my life where I remember growing up on the farm where, I got into mischief. Not that any of us ever do anything like that, but, I got into some mischief. And I remember, when I would get caught, my dad or my mom would ask me a question in regards to the mischief or whatever it was that I was doing. And then I would try to, what am I going to say? Because I knew obviously that, I wasn't supposed to be doing what I was doing, and I wasn't responding the right way, or not doing what my chores that I should have been doing. And so, you have this moment of choice where it's like, okay, am I going to try to cover this up, or am I just going to tell the truth? My parents were good at realizing that, in that split second, I'm trying to make a decision. Do I want to, say what's really going on, or do I want to kind of tell a story? And so I remember my parents would often be quick to say, answer me. When we're forced in a quicker decision based on the reality of what we're going through, really, I think it's good. And what I mean by that is that I'm not talking about, when somebody says something, again, I'm not talking about being reactionary to respond to somebody when they're kind of making you mad, but God has the right to tell us to answer him, because he knows what's really going on. And so that's the answer me, if you will, from the person's, especially God, in the sense of when he says, what are you thinking about right now? Why are you worried when you can have hope? Why are you, and when he looks at us and says, answer me, did that ever happen? Well, there's this story in the Bible about a miserable man. The man was by the name of Job, and so that one book in the Bible is not called Job. It's not, how to find a job. It's about a man by the name of Job. And so Job had all of these questions about what was going on. And there was a lot that was going on in his life. And he had advisors that were talking to him. And he just kept questioning. And I want to really encourage you to do some homework. So you guys are starting school, so here I am already assigning some homework too. But I want to assign this homework to everybody. I want to encourage you to read Job chapter 38 because it's where God talks to Job. It's not the counselors that are talking to Job, it's where God is talking to Job. And one of the sections in God's first response to Job, when Job is asking all these questions, is God says this. He says to Job, he says, "Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorant words?" Wow. Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorant words? Guys, can we just agree we don't understand really what's going on out there? This is a time of a season that we're all in across this globe, and we're all trying to search for meaning in this. But I would just encourage you that the greatest meaning that you'll ever find is finding comfort and peace in talking with God about this, about what you're feeling, about what you're going through. He goes on to say, he says to Job, he says, "Brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them." Now, I'm not going to read any more. That's your homework. Because he starts asking about, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Well, obviously the answer is not there. We need to come to this understanding that we want to learn lessons. I hope that that's our objective through this process. I mean, yeah, we can get frustrated, we can get confused, we can get just enamored by all the information and just all the feelings that we have. But take life and realize it's a textbook, it's a lesson that we're trying to learn. I love something that one of the persons that's really inspired me in my life, all again my parents' fault. Actually, it was my grandparents' fault. From living here in California, we used to visit as kids. My dad was a school teacher, and so we'd spend summers here in California. And one of the things that I fell in love with at such an early age was this wonderful, inspirational man by the name of Walt Disney. That's right, Walt Disney. And one of the things that I love that he said is the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. He said the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. You know, a lot of people, it's recorded that they just saw an orange grove, and yet he saw, his vision was a place where families would come together to celebrate and have time together to have fun. I was thinking of another man, and I'm not going to botch his name, so you can look it up for yourself, but he wrote a book called The Great Pearl of Wisdom, and at being asked the question what it was that inspired him to write this book, this is what he said. He said, "This book is miscellaneous thoughts and insights on life that come to me when I'm alone gazing at the starry sky at night, walking by the sea, through the woods, watching people at a party, going to the marketplace, by a chance encounter, or when my sleep fails me, I have written this book." And he went on to say in the book, in a quote from him, he said, "You are received the way you present yourself." You are received the way you present yourself. Coming back to that present yourself, presentation, that place where God is watching, people are watching, and they're watching to see if you can answer them. And what I mean by that is are you showing up and being presentable in the sense that not only are you taking time to look good and smell good and eat good and be physically good and trying to be mentally good and trying to be active and all of these things, but your presentation, the persona, the image that you project. One of the things that I noticed, I believe it was Amber and TJ that made mention. Amber was probably the one typing there, but she made a comment that Leah was so energetic today. It takes discipline on all of our parts to decide how we're going to show up. We talk about not being a thermometer, but being a thermostat, being the one that walks into the room and changes the environment because of your presence. And I believe that with those things that Leah talked about, which turned into this wonderful pile of Skittles. I wish I could throw those at you guys. Those of you that were watching are hankering for some Skittles right now. But those words that were powerful, words of hope and confidence, courage, bravery. I mean, we could look at so many things. And when you show up, especially when you show up with confidence, some of us, sometimes we enter into a room and it's like we're kind of analyzing the room. Does anybody want to talk to me? Man, we need to be the ones that are there because we want to talk to people. Because if you were invited
If you are not kicked out, I mean, maybe you're thinking, well, I was just with a group and I walked over and I wanted to see, if I would be invited into the conversation. Man, be a part of the conversation. Inspire the conversation. Bring to the table just this, I'm here because together we're better. And I know that when Leah and I have that, even in our marriage and the relationship that we have, when we look at one another and instead of trying to, to leech off of each other or steal energy from other, when we try to give energy to each other, man, we have the best day. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have bad days. But Leah and I have commented that thank you to each other when there are days where we're down that the other person doesn't decide to go down too. Guys, if it seems like the ship is sinking, we could try to jump overboard or go down with the ship, or we can try to figure out where the hole is and patch it. And in some of us, maybe we need to hear that today. Maybe we've looked at, kind of our life and we're just kind of, I'm frustrated and I just, everything that's going on. And again, just what this author said, you are received the way you present yourself. And if you're going to present yourself with somebody that is not only has hope, but is showing hope, showing that you care. Years ago, my mom used to encourage me, to learn different scriptures and to learn things that were inspirational. I want to just again say, we all have different ideas of how to read the Bible, how to study the Bible, how to do these different things, and other writings that we look to inspire us as well, quotes, and I certainly quote people often and read other books as well. But it's not so much about the information that you've memorized, so long as the information that you've memorized actually makes a difference in your life. And I remember when I was a little boy, and I was talking about, in my life, I wanted to make a difference, and I wanted to be able, to present myself in a manner that made a difference. And so my mom encouraged me to read a letter to a man by the name of Timothy that was written by a man by the name of Paul. And one of the things that Paul told Timothy, and Timothy was learning how to help people, and so Paul was talking to him about how to do this, and he was talking about the importance of just understanding what you're really doing. And so what he said to him is, he said, work hard so you present yourself to God and receive his approval. You see, it's not just about presenting ourselves to others, but the motivations behind how we present ourselves are also being scrutinized by the one that's watching us, who is God. And we want his approval. And then he goes on to say, he says, be a good worker, one who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly explains truth. Man, that's a big chunk right there. If we made it our goal in this world to present ourselves with the understanding that even our motivations are being scrutinized, not scrutinized in the sense of judgmentally, but in the sense that God's saying, this is why I want you to do it. Do it because you really love people. Not because you're faking it, but because you really love people. Again, Leah talked about sharing the video. It doesn't ask you to put up a link. All you do is hit the button and it posts it to your wall. And maybe that's a simple way that we can be an inspiration to some of your friends, maybe to some of your family members that are not having the chance to watch this. But what if we really had the motivation, because of the motivation of being loved, I want to walk in, I want to make myself presentable, I want to make myself so not just in the way I look, but the attitude, the inspiration that I bring into this room. And what if we understood that one of the things that we really want to do is never have to be ashamed because we did it the wrong reason, but then going on further where he says, one who correctly explains truth. Now here, I understand, there's a lot of people like, yeah, but what is truth? Boy, I just quoted Pilate, so did you. Pilate was standing before the way, the truth, and the life, and Jesus said, I am the truth. And Pilate said, what is truth? Sometimes we like to debate over what truth is, and I understand that when we're talking about what's going on right now, there certainly is a lot. What is true, what is a lie, and that we have to work through and process. But we can know what truth is. I know what truth looks like when I know someone who genuinely loves me. I don't question it. I don't sit there and go, maybe they're faking it. We can know what truth is. And so I want to encourage us as we kind of come to wrapping up just kind of the things that we've talked about today. I want you to just kind of think of this one last thought. There's a singer-songwriter, and she's pop, and I don't know how famous she is anymore. But Katy Perry wrote a song, and I'm not a Katy Perry big fan, but I loved the inspiration behind the song, because what she said when she said, "Baby, you're a firework. Let them see what you're worth," as you go, ah, 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 shooting across the sky, boom, boom, all that stuff. I can't sing that song. The inspiration is, though, let the world see who you really are. Don't hide behind shells. All of us have to wear masks nowadays, but don't hide behind the mask. Let people see you smile with your eyes. Let people hear your words be an inspiration in this world that we're living in. You are received the way you present yourself. How do you want to present yourself today? Guys, we love you, and I hope that you have enjoyed some of the words that have been, again, spoken into your life, and take those words and have a conversation. Please take time to share the video. It's so simple, and again, it might be a great inspiration to someone that you know today. Have a great day.